Man against man? I'm not sure what you're saying there, Alpi. No, the Civil War didn't come this far north. Further north was in, the furthest north was in Pennsylvania. Oh, okay. What's the Civil War thing for? It's just a memorial. New York City contributed, I think, what did it say, 160,000 men to the war effort. So 160,000 New York Staters, not necessarily New Yorkers, New York Cityers, went and fought in the war. There wasn't a big city here at the time that they were fighting the American Revolution. No, this land was farmland. Brooklyn was a small little town, and I think it was mostly that way. So we're quite a bit south, I think, of where Brooklyn the town was. This was all, yeah, this was all farmland, I believe. $400,000 New York State citizens served in the U.S. Armed Forces during the war, and 54,000 died in battle. Oh, so maybe it was just New Yorkers then. 160,000 New York, like, city residents. That's interesting. That has a window that looks onto what appears to be stone. Not sure why there's a window if it's looking into stone. But maybe it's open on the sides and so the light diffuses on the interior? I don't know. That's odd. You're super interested in war history and you know lots about World War I and II, but you don't know much about the American Revolution or the American Civil War. I mean, I'm not really sure why you would need to. I mean, Americans know this stuff because it constitutes like our geographic and like physical history, right? Like a lot of things are the way that they are because these things happened. But I can't imagine why it would matter to people who aren't American. Or British. But there's a lot of documentary material to look through if you are interested. Like lots and lots has been written on both wars, strategy, major biographies on certain people, maps, and I mean it's just, they're both exhaustively detailed. The American Civil War was the first large industrialized war, so it's very significant in military history. Oh, okay. The U.S. is a superpower, so there's that. Yeah, I suppose. Hey, SD Cowboy! How are you? Glad that you could be here to join us on this beautiful day. Let's see. Can it? I mean, this app would be great if it could show me where I was. If it could show me where I was, and if it would, I don't know. It's better than no map, I guess. But kind of barely. Where does this go? Yeah, they all kind of look like... Oh, this one has stained glass in the window. That would be really beautiful inside. Yeah, the thing about the architecture is that they are modeled after Greek... I'm not going to remember the name of the Greek model. Yes, I swear I took architecture history. But anyway, it's modeled after a Greek prototype. And so there was this time period in late 1700s through to the 1800s where it was like a Greek and Roman revival kind of thing. And so there were a lot of people think of it as classical architecture. And so this is it's called a typology. It's a type of building. And so a lot of post offices have this type where there is a series of columns which creates a little portico. And so this is like a porch, basically, like a little porch, and it designates where the entrance is, and they're just little boxes, really. Your grandfather's buried here, Eli. Oh, cool. Where? If you know where, and you can describe it to me well enough that I can find it on the map, we'll go visit your grandfather's grave. Yes, it does appear to be a gunshot through the windshield. It's probably like a BB gun or something. Probably not like a gunshot. But the stained glass doesn't appear to be damaged, so that's interesting. Francis Bernard LaRose. Okay. So the map doesn't seem to let me search for specific people. But if you can tell me like what lane it's on within the cemetery, we'll try to find it. Neoclassical, yeah, neoclassical. Do their families have access to the wee houses? Yes. My grandmother once told me that a cemetery worker had told her that graves are usually only maintained for about 50 years after the last, well, for about 50 years. Because if you think about it, that's about how long the surviving relatives will probably be alive who really had a close connection with that person. So unless it's a family plot, like one, like a mausoleum like this that's passed down through the generations, most graves are not going to be actively maintained simply because the descendants didn't know those people, so they didn't have that emotional connection. You're not sure? You never met him? You just know that you died here? Okay, no worries. If you can tell me, we'll go look it up. Otherwise, maybe we'll get lucky and stumble across it, but it's kind of a big place. It's kind of a really big place. Yeah, the website has burial search, but their map doesn't. Their app doesn't for some reason. Now that is an interesting take on an obelisk. It's very rough. I'm sure it's intentional. I wonder if it's a brutalist or... Oh no, I think it must be... I don't think it's brutalist architecture. There must be a different reason for that particular style. Gosh, these bushes are so bright right now. That's a beautiful thing to do. That's definitely one way of honoring ancestors, right? Like, these bushes are going to keep going for a really long time, and they're going to bring joy to everyone who sees them, and color. Oh, it's at Holy Cross. Okay. Yeah, same kind of area. I mean, look at this one. That's amazing. That's so beautiful. What a fantastic way to symbolize life growing out of death. Oh, they're azaleas. Okay. Thank you. I never... I like them. I just didn't know what kind of trees or bushes they are. They're azaleas. This is a beautiful one. Wow, this one's well designed. The proportions, the masonry work. The copper front doors. Yeah, very well done. Pacifico, this makes you feel like you've passed away and you're taking someone else's point of view. Well, that wouldn't be such a bad place to spend eternity, right? Did anyone else try to read Lincoln in the Bardo? It's a book told from the perspectives of the ghost inhabitants of a graveyard, and it talks about Lincoln, President Lincoln, after his son died, and it tells about him spending time in one of these buildings with his dead son. It's very sad and also irreverent in times. It's better as an audiobook, I think, than as a... Like, the audiobook has a lot of different voice actors, and it helps make me